Apparently, Israel's plan is they're just going to keep holding elections, like over and over and over and over again. It's pretty incredible. So Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, he continues to be the prime minister of Israel. It is still unclear how many seats in the Israeli parliament he's going to have. So the way that it works in Israel is they have a parliamentary list system. It's a little bit complicated, but basically, you vote for a party. The percentage of people who vote for that party is then translated into a number of seats in the parliament. So if 30% of the population votes for Likud, then 30% of the seats in parliament go to Likud. Now, there's a 3.5% cutoff. So if you vote for a party that doesn't make parliament, then your vote is basically just thrown out. Okay, so you have to come up with 60 votes through a coalition system in order for you to actually have a majority governing coalition. What's happened over the course of the past decade or so is that Netanyahu, who is a master politician, he happens to be the most historically important prime minister in Israeli history, just by all available evidence. He's been prime minister since 2008, I believe. So 13 years. And then he was prime minister in the 90s as well. So he served something like 15 years as prime minister of Israel overall. So Netanyahu, as it turns out, he has a habit of basically appointing people who think they are his heirs and then cutting them off at the knees. And he has done this with a bunch of people. And they all go and form their own parties because in Israel, you don't need that many votes in order for your party to get into Knesset. So what this means is that of the 120 seats in parliament, in Israeli parliament, about 80 of them are right-wing seats. About 80 of them are from parties that would identify as center or center-right. And yet they still can't get 60 seats because so many people just don't like Netanyahu. But Netanyahu runs the largest party, and there's no one else who's capable of forming a coalition. So they just keep going to election over and over and over again. That's what happened again last night. The exit polls are showing Bibi's coalition bloc just around 60. Some of the polls have them up at like 61. Some have them down at 59. So the available options are they could just continue with a minority-run government, like 59 seats. Because, again, it's not like the right wing has 59 seats and the left wing has 61 seats. It's like the right wing has 80 seats, but 20 of those seats just don't like Bibi Netanyahu and won't sit in a government with him. So instead what you get is this bizarre situation where Netanyahu has continued to be prime minister because no one else can be prime minister. But they just keep holding elections over and over and over again with no end in sight. It's actually, from the outside, it's hilarious. If you're in Israel, it must be super annoying. But from the outside, it's really kind of funny. So according to the Jerusalem Post, Prime Minister Netanyahu would not be able to form a government, according to preliminary results from 97% of the regular polling stations reported by the Central Elections Committee. Netanyahu's bloc of Likud, Shas, United Torah Judaism, and the Religious Party was found to have won 59 seats along with Yamina. That's too short of the majority. Now, there is an Arab party that apparently wants to sit with Netanyahu. It's called Ram. And they're interested in sitting with Netanyahu because he has cut peace with a bunch of these Arab states, like the United Arab Emirates. So that could be possible. According to the preliminary results, Likud has 30 seats. Yesh Atid, which is his chief opposition, only won 18 seats. Shas won 9. Yesh Atid is kind of a center party. Blue and White is kind of a center to center-right party. New Hope is a right-wing party that won't sit with Netanyahu, or say they will not. Yisrael Beitenu is right-wing. They will sit with him. Meretz is left-wing. The left does not exist in Israel at this point. So it is not exactly clear what happens next. One thing is clear, though. There's no alternative to Bibi. That's where things stand right now in Israel. And they can keep holding this election over and over and over again. But the Israeli people are getting kind of tired of this. There's a big turnout drop that's happening. If there's more turnout drop like this one next time, then Bibi will win a clear majority. Facts don't care about your feelings, and it's a fact that The Ben Shapiro Show is the largest conservative podcast in the nation. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our content.